Do not adjust your digital device. What you are about to see and hear may shock and appall you. Join our hosts as they encounter countless thrills, spills, chills, and hilarity as they explore the very weirdest in pop culture. The following media is so strange, so beyond the scope of what is normal, it will make you ask the question, why does this exist? Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Why Does This Exist? I'm Chris.
And I'm Rob.
And today, we know that it has been a while. This is episode 98. We are 2 away from 100. We understand it's been a few weeks, and maybe you've missed us, or maybe you've been glad that we're gone. Either way, we're back, baby. And we got a really big shoe out here for you. Also, it is my father's birthday this particular week. So the man who brought you me is turning another year older, and I guess that's good for some people. He's aged once again. Oh boy, which means he's lost more and more brain cells as time has gone by. Part of it is my fault. The other beer is another factor, and the rest of it is just being an old man. But before we get into that, let's discuss this movie that we've got going on today. This is Why Does This Exist? We are a podcast that talks about the very weirdest in pop culture, whether that be a movie like we're about to do, a TV show like we will be doing in the week from now with Jackie Chan Adventures, and some strange music like we did with Devo a few weeks back. Whatever it is, we are going to talk about it. You can support us quite a few ways. The easiest way is to go on to Facebook and just find us, Why Does This Exist? And you can send us some weird things. And, just like our good pal Muhammad seems to do every so often with the buff cakes and people popping their pimples into mixed drinks and making horrible cocktails and other bizarre things. Or you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, which we upload our podcast to. You can take and listen to it. You can tell a friend, and you can get our numbers up. You can subscribe to it. You don't necessarily have to like it, and you don't have to hit that stupid bell that nobody cares about. You could just simply subscribe and go on your merry way, and we won't bother you ever again. You don't even have to listen to the show. Or if you really want to be a cool person, then you just head on over to patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. The link is in the description. If you don't have time for that, and you could give us as much money as you want, or as little as $1, you'll have access to our Discord server where you can hang out with all the freaks who gave us money. And we won't thank you kindly at all. Instead, we will roast you on the show. Such as, for example, my father gave us $1 the other day for our podcast, and I slapped him in the face. And I said, why would you do such a thing? That was a terrible idea. And he said, well, I wanted to support you, son. Tears welling up in his eyes. And I said, well, support this. And I put that $1 where the sun don't shine. Okay, that didn't happen at all. In fact, I said thank you and gave him a big hug. Let's be honest, Ron. I might be a son of a bitch, but I am not that cruel. But I do enjoy an unusual punishment. Speaking of unusual punishments, my dad met Stephen Hawking one time, and Stephen Hawking was like, it's like looking into a mirror, except it's stupid. I'm just kidding. Stephen Hawking's dead. All right.
Oh my God.
We are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge from a ragtag group of rogues, so let's get on with the goddamn show. We're talking about this movie, The Big Hit, which, despite...
More like a big shit, am I right?
Oh, absolutely. To be honest, I have no idea how the hell anybody involved in this movie had a career after this, and it
I
had a very good cast.
I honestly can't, but like okay, so going into this, you had originally said that this is a shitty movie, and I'm like, how could it, like, so I'm like, okay, it's a shitty movie, and then I looked up like what it was, and I saw like literally the cast. Okay, I'm just gonna read off the top billed cast: Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips, Christina Applegate, Bokeem Woodbine, who was in Sopranos, uh, Antonio Sabato Jr. I don't know, but like again, Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips,
You have Elliot Gould.
like who I'm pretty sure doesn't even have a friggin' speaking role in this movie. I don't even think his character says one word in the movie.
No, he has a few lines and he gets drunk, and and insults his family.
Yeah, not only the cast though, not only the cast. It was produced by John Woo and Wesley Snipes. So I'm like,
okay, so there's a misconception about that we'll get into. John Woo's name was plastered all over this thing. And so the company that produced it was Wesley Snipes' production company.
Right.
But Wesley Snipes and John Woo, like both Wesley Snipes and John Woo's names were all slapped all over this thing to make it look good.
Yeah.
But they had very little to no involvement. John Woo had an executive producer role, which most of the time you just kind of hand out like it's a party favor when it comes to this. Usually an executive producer has like it's somebody who like helped fund it or something like that.
Basically.
I'm reading a production book right now just because and I'm finding that out that like most of the time executive producer, they basically gave this thing out like bazooka gum. Like you could just find it anywhere. It really didn't matter. My dog was an executive producer on this movie, and I don't even have a dog. I never had a pet. This came out in 1998. I had no pets in 1998, but somehow Pickles has an executive producer role on the big hit.
The guy who played Biff in Back to the Future did like stand up, and he would sing a song about like his experience playing Biff in Back to the Future. And one of the jokes he made is like people always ask him questions basically, and like one of the questions is like, what does the executive producer do? And he's like, I don't know, because like literally nobody knows what the EP actually does.
They're not actually there. It's usually somebody who just helped fund the movie.
Yeah.
And they like gave them an executive producer credit to like in like almost as like a thank you.
I mean, how much funding could they have possibly given though? This movie had a budget of $13 million. Again, we've talked about this before, is like a pittance in movie terms.
Yes. I mean, the movie was technically a big hit because it went on to gross like twice that.
Yeah.
So it did work. It even premiered at #1 in the box office. But the director is Kirk Wong, who I think he was like in Hong Kong cinema, and this was his first foray into American movies. And his writer was some guy named Ben Ramsey, who I don't know what else this guy has gone on to make. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, he did Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, well, there you go. That's all you need to know.
There you go. That already says it. Jesus, that's awful. Yeah,
this
so he has nothing good on his resume, basically.
No.
At least on his IMDb page. There's nothing good.
Well, he apparently worked on Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
That might have been by accident.
Oh, he was on the art department, so he actually didn't do anything relevant.
There you go. Okay, so this man was just not a talented writer.
Yeah, no, he was just a terrible person all around, it looks like.
Jesus.
It looks like he didn't do anything that was good.
Well, I can't say I blame him. But anyway, they made this thing. Why don't you tell the good people what the hell this piece of shit is?
So the big hit is, I guess it's supposed to be an action movie / comedy, which was not funny. Like, so
it is neither. It's not
fun, not funny or action packed.
There is some action, but
it's just shitty.
All the action scenes take up maybe like. If there's 5 minutes of screen time then I'd be surprised.
Yeah. So Mark Wahlberg stars as Melvin Smiley, possibly the worst name for a friggin' main character ever in in cinema history.
Ever.
Who's a hitman, and he works with a team of guys, including Lou Diamond Phillips and Bokeem Woodbine, and basically they work for this guy named Paris, who is played by Avery Brooks, and like they do jobs for
Avery
him.
Brooks has been in a lot of things too.
Yeah.
He's also very good.
Yes. It so and like also like it's the weirdest thing ever because Melvin is like somehow like this like literally like friggin' Terminator. Like they actually like just rely on him to do all the jobs because he's like a friggin' like he like is like a ninja basically. He runs into these friggin' rooms and like with guns and just blows people away. And he's like this like elite spec ops guy and the other guys just basically like ride his coattails.
Yeah, and
But
and for some reason he comes out totally unscathed in all of these things. Like he
yes,
blows up a building with a bomb that's somehow activated by blood for reasons we never understand or learn. And he magically lands into a pool and all of this debris happens to not even like come close to him
yeah.
despite him landing in the pool.
Yeah, he also like actually literally gets shot at. Well, they shoot at him, but it's evident that they miss him. But it's like, how could they possibly miss in one scene where he's like, and they literally like friggin' like fire a whole bunch of shots, and he just sits up and shoots the guy like it's nothing.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't. I'm like, I first saw it. I'm like, I'm like, I think he got shot. I'm like, there's no way they're. Maybe that's why it's such a bad movie because they kill off Mark Wahlberg in the first 5 minutes of the movie. But no, he gets back up.
Yeah.
So
This whole movie can be summed up as one giant continuity error.
yeah,
I will say it
also,
at least is paced pretty good because it didn't feel like I was sitting through 90 minutes. It wasn't a movie where I was like, oh, Jesus, I hope this is over soon. Oh, no, we're only 10 minutes in. It at least, like, went by pretty quickly. I will say that.
yeah,
I hated every second of it, and there were some points where I was laughing not because it was funny, but because of just how stupid it was. And how, like, and how bad the continuity is.
So not only that, but like I don't understand what Mark Wahlberg's character is supposed to be because on the one hand he's like this crazy like friggin' like murderer that's like like better than like anybody in the team, and he's like like does all these ridiculous tricks and has these crazy plans and shit. And on the other hand, he's like a complete and total loser. Like he's basically the George Costanza of hitmen.
Yeah. He's super kind and sensitive and he's just like, oh shucks, I wonder why. I hope he's afraid of people not liking him.
Yes,
and it's like
that's
he's
like his
super
biggest thing.
insecure. That's his thing, is that he's super insecure, but he's this this stone cold hitman who he just willy-nilly murders people for no reason in this movie.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where the lead girl in the movie, her boyfriend is getting too handsy and he's being a jerk, and she's like, no means no, and he's just still trying to
literally
take advantage of her.
Literally sexually assault her, basically.
Yes. So Mark Wahlberg, okay, well, for context, first he just they murder the limo driver just because the limo driver pulls over and asks them if they need help with something, and then he shoots the limo driver.
Well,
just because.
They're trying to kidnap this girl. That's like their new plan, yes, because they're trying to make a lot of money, and the girl's father is like a multimillionaire, so they figure they can get like a huge ransom. So they
because he directed a movie called oh god, what was it? The Golden Spray.
Yeah,
where he was an action hero and it was a flop.
It was a complete flop, and he actually is bankrupt, and they don't know that. They think they're still gonna get a huge ton of money, even though he's bankrupt. So their whole plan is to kill the limo driver, steal the limo, and then Mark Wahlberg dresses up as it's like they're trying to be like Agent 47 in Hitman or something. He's dressing up as the limo driver and he's in disguise. So obviously when he friggin' lowers the like window and blows the guy's head off, like the friggin' cat's out of the bag at this point. The girls know she's being kidnapped. So, you know, what I don't know what their plan was at
Yeah,
this point,
he
but
just shoots the boyfriend for no reason. Instead of like kicking him out of the car, he just shoots him.
yeah.
Also, he like they point out that he has that like he has expensive crystals in the car, and like obviously she goes to like a prep school where like only rich kids would go. So
Yeah.
like I don't understand why they like throughout the whole movie they never bother to check they never bother to actually take a look at the damn crystals in the suitcase
Yeah.
because that could be worth all the money that they're looking for anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
It's like
it's
never
so
the crystals are never
convoluted.
brought up again.
There's so many plot holes, and like it just is like you're all over the place. So like they go from, and so it turns out that like again it just in a friggin' happenstance of coincidences, the girl that they kidnap is also the goddaughter of their boss Paris, played played by Avery Brooks. So he's like hears about this and is immediately all pissed off and is like, oh, like, you know, he tells like Lou Diamond Phillips and like the one other guy, oh, you got to go find the girl now because like
Yes.
somebody kidnapped her.
Meanwhile, this is Lou Diamond Phillips' plan.
Yeah, exactly. It was his plan from the beginning. Um, Also, Lou Diamond Phillips' character, I don't know what he's trying to be. Like, if he's trying to be like an Italian mobster or something. Like, he's just so weird. It's
I
just
don't know if he was. Yeah, I thought that he was like trying to be Spanish, but he didn't know if he was Italian or
yeah,
something. I didn't really understand it, and I mean I don't really understand any characters in this movie. Like it seems like Bokeem Woodbine's character is like pretty much just some guy who's really addicted to porn.
yeah.
They like allude to that, and it like really makes no sense. And they call him Crunch, and seen like he's always seen like with like a with like one of those like forearm strengtheners or like hand strengtheners.
Oh
So
yeah.
like I'm guessing that and there's like one scene where like he's like looking at a VHS and then he like excitedly looks at his like hand and he's like, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" And so it's like I guess he's constantly strengthening his hand so he can jerk off better.
I
I don't
it's just
understand the logic of any of this, and I don't know why that was necessary. Also, like every scene, like most of the scenes, every guy is like shirtless for like half the movie for no
yeah.
reason.
The
Like
first
Mark,
the
it's
first
almost
5 minutes.
like it's almost like Mark Wahlberg has like a clause in his contract where he has to be shirtless for a certain percentage of the movie.
Well, also the first 5 minutes, you see like everybody's ass, like you just see man ass in your face, in like the
Yeah,
first 5 minutes of the
I
movie.
never understood that. I was like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, what exactly am I trying to watch here?
Well, I was like wondering, like, like, what demographic are they trying to reach with this movie?
Right.
Because
I don't know who the movie's for.
yeah, like women don't watch action movies, so they don't. Well, I mean that's not always true, but like in general, women don't prefer action movies. So like showing like a bunch of men's asses at the beginning is not gonna like who's that for? Like who is it for?
I
You
don't
know?
know. And then it's not, and then like and like none of the characters are like it's not a gay movie. All the
No.
characters are like straight in the movie,
Yeah.
or at least I think there's one that they allege likes to like cross dress. And there were several deleted scenes where he would be wearing a dress for reasons.
Yeah, I mean, like Mark
But
Wahlberg's character is
I,
in a relationship with two women at the beginning, two different women,
yes,
and then
and
starts
he's
going out with the freaking kidnap victim too by the
right,
end of the
which the
movie.
kidnap victim, they actually changed her character around. She was in the original draft, she was supposed to be a high school student, and then they changed it to be a college student in the movie
Well, I
because they
guess
were like,
that would have been a little creepy to have friggin' Mark Wahlberg like not only kidnapping her, but like ending up together at the end of the movie. Like, what the fuck are they trying to say? You know,
well, they
like,
wound up together in real life actually.
oh god,
So for like 4 years,
oh
they dated for 4 years, Mark Wahlberg and China Chow.
wow,
Yeah, so it's It's an interesting thing. But also, they have the worst makeout possible. I've seen people kiss badly, and I have never seen people kiss worse than that.
I mean, I think also like just all of the romance scenes in general, like they're just very awkward and strange. And also,
Yes.
Christina Applegate's character Pam is like, it's the most like stereotypical like Jew from Queens like ever. Like she's
Yes.
basically Fran Drescher. It's like I
It's
don't even know how to. It's just beyond like what were they thinking? Like
yeah,
it's so poorly written.
it's really uncomfortable at
Yeah,
points. Like, I mean, also they have like the weird kid who's like into rap and like
yeah,
he says the N word to Lou
yeah.
Diamond Phillips,
I mean,
and I'm like,
this was the
it,
90s, so like this kind of stuff was like not as like, like, oh crap, like would this probably be able to be made today? Absolutely not. Like there's
definitely
no way.
not. But
Also, like
it's just
uh
like, why do they do this?
Pam's parents are encouraging her to break up with Melvin because Melvin's not Jewish.
Yes.
So they keep like they're like, oh, he's a goyim, so you can't date him. And it's like they literally say that in the movie. It's like,
Yeah.
like what?
Well, Elliot Gould compares he compares the relationship to Look Who's Coming to Dinner, which
Yeah,
was not even close
yeah.
to that.
I mean, Goodfellas kind of made like a allusion to that when like Karen brings Henry home to her parents and like he's wearing the crucifix and she's like, "Oh, you have to cover that up." But like it's so subtle and it's like, okay, yeah, because that's what like things were like back in like the 60s. Like, people
Yeah.
thought that way, "Oh, you're not Jewish, so you can't marry my daughter." Like this was made in the 90s and takes place in the 90s. Like I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
stigma was gone.
Yeah,
Like
also there's this weird scene where like all of the men like they do synchronized lawn mowing and nothing happens ever again that like is brought up to that.
also
I don't know I don't know whose humor this was supposed to be catering to.
the jokes just didn't make sense, and I don't know if that's because the director, this is his first movie that he made in America, or if it's because the writer is just terrible. But
I
like
think it's the writer.
it could, but they keep making the same joke of like everybody, like when they go to like the house where Melvin lives with Pam, like for some reason everybody always parks at the neighbor's house, and the neighbor like yells at them. Like, but there's no explanation. There's no punchline. It's just, oh, everyone just goes to the wrong house. I don't know if they're trying to say, oh, because he lives in like a cookie cutter, like, typical suburban neighborhood where every house
But the
looks the
garage
same.
is, but that's not true either because the houses do not look anything alike. Even the colors of the garage door are totally different. One
Well,
is
yeah.
white and the other garage door is green. So how could you possibly miss that?
Also, Melvin lives there. How does he not know what house he lives in? And he has a garage door opener, an automatic garage door opener in his car, and it opens his garage, and he still parks in the wrong like driveway.
It makes no sense.
It just makes no sense. I don't know what the point of the joke is. Is that they're all stupid, or
I
like, oh,
guess.
they live in suburbia, so they're a bunch of like friggin' losers because every house looks the same. Like I don't know, and I guess like maybe it's alluding to like the fact that Melvin kind of wants like a normal life, and that's like his normal life, where he like Pam doesn't know that he's a hitman, and he pretends to be like just like a regular ass businessman kind of thing. Whereas opposed to like Chantel, his other girlfriend, like knows very well that he's a hitman and is always demanding that he pay her like off, like pay her like her mortgage, pay her car off, like everything.
And he
And
like does it too.
yeah, he does it without even questioning it. Meanwhile, she's like cheating on him with some other like freaking hippie dude. It's just like, which I don't even think that guy is even like credited in the movie as anybody.
I wouldn't want to be credited if I was in this.
Yeah.
I I just don't get it. Also, there's this other weird running gag, which at least there is a resolve to this, but the freaking video store keeps calling his
Oh
house,
yeah.
and they keep like badgering him to return this video of King Kong Lives, which Chantel has at her house because her boyfriend likes it.
Yeah. And also
And
like
they try to take the VHS with them to like when they try to like leave.
also
Which It's a freaking VHS. You could get it at any video store.
the video store kid is like the most over the top, like what the hell, like who wrote you character I've ever seen. Like he just like basically goes like on a rant at when they first introduce him when he's calling the house to say that you need to return the video, and like it just goes on this ridiculous like rant, and he's like this over the top like nerdy kid, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you if you don't return the video or some stuff, something
It's
like
like
that.
something that you would see in like an 80s music video, like a Twisted Sister video or something, and then at the end the band like beats
Yes.
the shit out of them.
Yeah, or like a freaking like a trauma film or something like that. Like
Well, I
so
think
over the
this movie is kind of sponsored by Trauma in a way, because when they actually go into the video store at the end, almost all of the posters are from Trauma.
yeah.
So it's plausible that Lloyd Kaufman and friends donated money to this.
See, he probably if Lloyd Kaufman had made this movie, I would have probably liked it more because it would have been
Yes,
like purposely. Like I feel like this movie like it almost feels like it's trying to be a parody without actually. It's like unintentionally a parody of like action movies of the 90s. Like it's like trying to be semi-serious but also have some jokes sprinkled in, but like it just comes across as like someone who tried to make like the scary movie version of Leon the Professional, basically, where it's just like so stupid and over the top, and the jokes are terrible and just like, and it's like toilet humor, you know.
I
But
have no idea.
it baffles me. Like I'm like, what were they thinking when they made this movie? Because it like
I
I don't know who they're trying to appeal to.
No, it's just what a great way to blow 13 million.
But yeah,
That's really that's the only thing that I can say about this.
well,
What a great way to waste money.
it
Like,
also is crazy that they actually made money on this. Like
yeah,
made quite a bit. They doubled their budget, and yeah, okay. Granted, 27 million is not a whole lot of money, but the movie still debuted at number one, which I guess because it was like April and it was probably like a slow month. April
there
1998.
had to not have been anything
Yeah,
that was out that week.
there must have been it. Like
That really must have been it. But I mean, I don't know. Like, what did they do before this? Because, like, was this like pre-Italian job or post-Italian job?
I think pre.
Like, if everybody was coming off of a long spate of doing nothing, I can understand where like they needed the money, or maybe they all just like maybe they owed Wesley Snipes a favor and they wanted to like help his production company take off, but they just happened to do it with this shitty movie.
This was pre Italian Job.
Okay, so like
So
what did he do in like 98
I don't.
or 97?
Let's take a look. I mean, I know Mark Wahlberg was like kind of just starting his film career in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, he had just done Boogie Nights in 97 though. That was like a big movie.
That was like his breakout role.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah, this was what he did. This was the movie that he did after that. How did he have a career after this?
I guess he got lucky because he got like Three Kings was a pretty big movie.
I don't know what The Yards was. I don't know what The Corruptor is. The Perfect Storm was a big one.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes was the less said the better.
It was crappy, but people saw it though. Like a lot of people went to see it, so I think it was financially a success.
I saw it. So yeah,
I saw it on TV. I didn't see it in the movies.
I saw it in the movies because my dad grew up being a big Planet of the Apes fan, and also it was his birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Much like this weekend, except this weekend I'm watching this piece of garbage. So I guess it's come full circle. Thanks, Dad. And then he did Rockstar, which is a good movie, but I'm not sure how financially successful it was. It kind of was like one of the forgotten Mark Wahlberg movies.
Yeah. I don't know. It baffles. Well, and the fact that Elliot Gould was a good actor too. Like he's known for a lot of stuff, and he had like barely even a speaking role. It was like he has like like you could count the amount of lines he has on one hand.
Yeah.
And he was like a veteran actor that has literally been acting since the 60s.
Yeah. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
Like there was like the amount of star power that was attached to this, and none of them could save this.
No.
None of them could save this. Like you have Lou Diamond Phillips, who like he's I believe I don't know if he is an Academy Award winner, but he's at least an Academy Award nominee. Like he's been acting for a very long
Oh
time.
yeah.
Um, he's yeah, he's been
In a lot of good movies too, like La Bamba, and Young Guns, like a lot of like really big famous movies that did very well.
yes, he's like he didn't need to do this.
No. I don't know. They must have like, and especially like the budget was 13 million, and
They
you have like,
they had to have owed someone a favor.
I mean, how much money did he get paid for this? Because he was in big movies. He probably got paid like 13 million for one movie.
I have no idea.
I mean, did they
Like
think it was like a passion project, and they were like, "Oh, let's try to like like, oh, let's help this guy out because it's his first movie in America, and like let's maybe it'll be good." Like, maybe that was why.
I don't know. Maybe well, I don't know. Maybe Kirk Wong was like a good friend of John Woo's, and John Woo was trying to help him.
It could
So
be.
like maybe this was like John Woo like convinced everybody to do this. There's not really a lot. There's really very little to nothing on this movie, and I mean it's probably for the best. But there's really it's really hard to dig into stuff. I mean, if you know anything about this, like please let us know on any of our like channels or like send an email to why does this exist show at gmail.com and just like let us know what exactly happened with this movie. Kirk, if you're listening, or Ben, if any of you are listening, Lou Diamond Phillips, I hope if you've got nothing better to do than to sit at home with your cats, let us know why the hell you did this piece of crap and how much you got paid. Because that I would really like to know. If they gave him like if they gave everybody like I have no idea. What did this even cost? Like
I don't know.
like besides the souls of the people involved, like I just don't understand. How much did they have to pay these actors to get them to do this? And none of them could save this.
Yeah.
Like apparently they were going to do a backstory on Melvin in the script about like how his parents died and why he like is like so afraid of rejection and everything, but that for some reason they felt that didn't need to make it to the movie. I mean, at least if you have to cut that for time, then just put in a line in there. Just add a little bit to his line where like he mentions that his parents are dead, or like when he mentions that he's afraid of people not liking him, just like add to that and just have him say, I'm terrified of people not liking me, and it's because my parents hated me so much and they were so mean. They used to beat me and they used to say that nobody liked me. Like, that's all you even needed to say, just that little bit of exposition, and we just know, okay, he had horrible parents, so he's traumatized.
I mean, I think the writing is just so bad. That's why,
It's
because
it really
like,
is
even the like
terrible.
lines of dialogue are just bad. They're just awful. Like they don't like. They're not clever. They're not snappy. They're not like they're not funny really.
They're
Like
not even realistic conversations most of the
no,
time.
no. It's very bizarre. It's very strange. And
I just
you
don't
know,
know who agreed to. I don't know. I just don't know how they agreed to do this.
well, also the fact that they have so the low budget, it really just doesn't work for like a movie like this. Like you really need a high budget for like special effects because the action scenes are like at the very least bad and at the very like worst like they're just like complete like over the top ridiculous. Like people get shot by like a pistol and they go flying like 1,000 feet back.
Yeah,
Like they got freaking blown away by a grenade or something.
yes, within the first like 5 minutes of the movie, that's really all that you really need to watch is the first 5 minutes, and then you can like because nothing else eventful happens in like within the whole movie because it's just all this nonsensical crap, and it's just them like I guess they're all doing a hit on like some big Italian mobster or something in a penthouse.
Who just has
And
like a literally like an army of like goons that all look the same. They're all wearing the same exact clothes, basically, like all just like dark blazers with like dark like shirts, like dress shirts.
I
And
mean, it's the uniform.
yeah, I guess
They have a good 401k plan, and if they live long enough, they actually do get a pension. I'm
And
told.
The
So
Italian
I'm told.
mobster is wearing a white bathrobe, so maybe it's like this is where friggin' David Chase got the idea for Tony Soprano. Who knows?
Who knows? I hope not.
He was just watching friggin' The Big Hit one night. And he's like, "That's perfect. I have a whole idea for a show."
Either that or he had a great idea for a show and he brought it to HBO, and the HBO people had just seen The Big Hit and were like, you know what, maybe this is the mafia show we want.
Maybe this is The Big Hit.
Yeah, I have no idea, but like within the first 5 minutes, like they shoot up the whole like thing. Of course, he does it all by himself because one of his friends are like they're drinking the guy's espresso for some reason, and then they go in like unbeknownst to them, everyone else is dead, so they start shooting at dead bodies and they
Yeah.
like act like they did something,
Like, yeah.
and then there's like these three women in a hot tub and they're all obviously like sex trafficking victims.
Yeah, literally.
And
Like
like
it's on like 100% sex trafficking case. Like they're being sold into sexual slavery in the like before like the team breaks in and starts shooting up the place.
Yeah, and one of the guys who's having the coffee, like he like starts hitting on them immediately.
Yeah, the both
Like
both. I think Bokeem
yeah,
Woodbine does too.
yeah, they start hitting on them immediately, and like they're and like them being sex trafficking victims, they don't want to be hit on, so they're like at best they're like traumatized further, at the worst, God knows like what mental disarray they're in, and like he like goes to hit on them and they're like, no, we just saw people get murdered in front of us that we were supposed to sleep with against our will, no thank you. And he like calls them all lesbians, and it's like,
Yeah.
why? It's like it was like what was the what was necessary about putting that in the script?
Right,
This was within 5 minutes of this fiasco.
the movie was inspiration for the incel movement.
I guess. Because that's what that means. It's not you. It's that she just
Yeah.
only likes women. That's why that's why you didn't get lucky tonight. You
Yeah.
freaking idiot.
So just and the whole scene leading up to this, like there's just like freaking guys literally flying around the room, like. And I get like John Woo movies are not that he was directing this. He was
John
just
Woo had
producer.
nothing to do with this. He just had
No.
his name slapped across it so that people
Well,
would
and I
like
think-
go to the movies.
I think
And
they tried to
that's
like emulate.
Well, that's probably why they like made any money in the box office anyway, was because they plastered all the star power names
Right.
on this thing, so they like sold it like it was basically a bait and switch for
Well,
anyone who went to the movies.
They have the scene in the beginning where he's like where Melvin's like training and he's got like one of those like martial artist like like wood things where like he could do like grappling techniques and stuff.
But that's the whole credits. That's like 4 minutes of that. It's so unnecessary.
Well, I think they're trying to say, oh, he's like this crazy, powerful, like kung fu master, like hitman, because he also does like a little bit of gun fu when he's like in the firefight, and he's like doing like friggin' like breakdancing tricks while shooting, and it's like just like of course he's like winning because no one could hit him because of plot armor.
But it's like, how do you? Plot armor indeed. It's like, why are you breakdancing and shooting people?
Oh, because he's really good at it. Like he could just walk into a room and break dance and kill everybody.
Is that like supposed to remind us that he was Marky Mark not too long ago?
I guess maybe.
I mean, it opens up with like when he's at Chantel's house and he's cutting up who is supposed to be the remains of like Sammy the Bull Gravano, who is still alive to this day, mind you.
Yeah. I wonder how he felt about that.
He probably doesn't even know about this.
Yeah.
But I really don't think that I really don't think that he would give a shit. It's just such a bad movie.
Yeah, it was really, really stupid. Like I don't know. It just baffles me. It baffles me how a movie with such a star-studded cast and such great star power and like the producers that produced it could it's like they friggin' like had gold and turned it to shit, like friggin' reversed King Midas.
They really did.
It's just like I don't understand how it could have been so bad.
It's just, I feel like I feel like all of the acting is not good either. They have good actors, but they're not good in it. Honestly, it really seems like a bunch of people owed somebody a favor and they did this and they were like, this is complete trash. I'm not even going to try to make this good. Or
Yeah.
maybe they thought or maybe they were trying to make it good and then they maybe like maybe the director and the writers were just impossible to work with and they just said, "You know what? We're just going to phone it in."
Yeah. I
Like I don't see any other reason why this turned out this way.
I don't know either. It's just I don't know.
By the way, he does end up. They end up having the final battle in a video game store at the video store, and and then somehow the video store explodes.
Yeah.
And also,
And of
for
course he
some
survives
reason,
Mark Wahlberg.
there's a
Melvin.
poster of Bokeem Woodbine in the adult video section as
Maybe
like the number one customer.
yeah, he's their best customer. Well, also,
It's
I don't. Yeah,
it's like a weird ongoing gag that nobody cares about.
I don't like again, and the whole plot of like the kidnapping and like like her falling in love with Mark Wahlberg and just like being okay with and like be like they end up together.
She gets really bad Stockholm syndrome, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
It's
that's
like
not good.
no, no,
Like this is not what a happy ending is.
no. It's just it's crazy. It's crazy how they just did this, and it was I don't know. It's just terrible. And I was like, again, this is what some like amazed me about it is because when I first like heard about this when we were decided to do it, I was like, how could this possibly be bad? Like with this cast and everything.
I told you. I found this movie by accident at my parents' house. Of course it all goes back to my dad.
Does
The
he
man
like this
who
movie?
No, the man
Oh,
who ruined me forever. Honestly, this is a movie that could only be directed by my father. It's that bad. This is the man who thinks that that Ang Lee's Hulk is a masterpiece. It's not. But that is way more watchable than this.
also,
Like, this is
I'm just watching the trailer right now, and pretty much the entire trailer is just scenes from like the first 20 minutes of the movie. It's
really.
like they didn't want people to actually see the whole movie. It's like, okay, well, just come and watch this yeah, look at all this action and how great it is. And it's like, yeah, literally like the entire action scene is the trailer and that's it.
Does the trailer look like it's a decent movie?
Yeah, I think they tried to definitely trick people into thinking
Okay, so this was a clear bait and switch.
yeah.
Jesus. Well, I guess
Like
it worked. It
they
definitely worked.
they put the best scenes and the best jokes in the trailer.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I know it also kind of was like funny to me how Mark Wahlberg's character looks like friggin' Seth Green. Like he looks like friggin' like Scotty from the friggin' Austin Powers movies in this movie.
I couldn't put my finger on who he looked like, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just I don't know. I don't know how it could have been so bad.
I don't know. But the first time that I saw this is one of two times, mind you, the second time being yesterday, where I exposed the missus to this poor thing twice, and
Yeah.
I felt just awful. Because now she has to suffer.
Yeah.
But that's what married life is. When you have to drag the other one down with you, folks. That's how it works. I can't say that's how it I can't say that's how you make it last, but that's definitely how it works sometimes. You just got to drag the other one down with you.
Yeah.
But the first time that I saw this, it came on Showtime or something. It was a very hot day, so it was too hot to go anywhere. So we just stayed inside, and someone had left the TV on. It may have been my dad. I'm just going to blame my dad, whether or not it was him, because let's keep continuity here. At least somebody has to. And it went on, and it was just so bad that I could not, and there was nothing else on.
Of
It
course.
was so bad that I could not look away because I was like, well, this is just awful. And then it kept getting worse, and I was like, there's no way this could get worse. And then it would get worse, and I was just like, shit, I'm 45 minutes into this thing. Now I really don't have a choice. I gotta see how this ends. Because what else am I gonna do in New Jersey?
Yeah.
And it was, oh, not good. Like 98-degree weather outside, so I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So yes, just like when it went into the box office, this movie tricked me into watching it. And I swear to God, I thought that they were using stock footage for all the car explosions. That's how bad it was for the special effects.
We forgot to also mention the fact, like, again, like tokenism and all these like racist, like, caricatures aside,
I noticed
there
this
was
yesterday too.
the fucking the Japanese businessman is literally trying to commit seppuku.
Yes.
Like literally, like it's like, okay, yeah, he's an Asian businessman, so of course he's gonna that's how he's gonna kill himself. He's gonna stab himself with a friggin' like katana. That's a perfect, right?
Well,
Like,
he's also like in the middle of singing one of the songs from Phantom of the Opera for some reason.
yeah.
But
And then
okay, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
oh, okay.
But continue.
Well, and then of course, it's like they're trying to call him to say that they have his daughter and they want the ransom, and she's like they can't. I don't know if the guy who's like writing the script she's supposed to read is dyslexic, but he can't spell any words, so she keeps like mispronouncing the words on purpose, and it's like I don't. The whole scene is just so like stupid.
And they drag it out.
Yeah, they drag it out like way beyond what it needed to be.
It makes absolutely no sense. But what I thought you were going to say was I noticed this yesterday, and I was like, okay, well, this is 1998, and like here we are in 2023, where where every movie where like everyone thinks that we're like, not to get political, but like everybody thinks that everything is super duper racist all the time, even when it's not. But I, whatever. And there's this giant push for like super diverse casts, and you got to have one of everything and what have you, and otherwise it can't be eligible for an Academy Award and some other stuff. Um, this was a very diverse cast.
Yeah,
Whether this was intentional or not, they they kind of did have a very diverse cast.
yeah,
So if I have to give them credit for something, and I have to give them, and if there is one silver lining to this movie, it's that.
yeah,
But otherwise, this is a real heaping pile of trash.
yeah, yeah. It's an absolute pile of dog shit. It really is. Rightfully it has a 31 on a Metascore. I'm surprised it's not lower, honestly. It's got a 6 out of a 10 on somehow on IMDb, which I don't understand because I guess people are stupid.
Listen,
Because
this is an unfortunate byproduct of too many stupid people being alive, and medicine advancement not just improving way too well, way too quickly, and Darwinism just can't really work. It really can't work properly anymore.
I
So
guess.
if if your favorite if any movie this is any movie that's ever been made, this is someone's least favorite movie, and it's someone else's personal favorite movie of all time.
If this is your personal favorite movie of all time, then you got problems.
Yes.
Because
You
it's just not good. It's
Yes, forget about going to your therapist. Go call your local exorcist.
and it's not like even it's like, oh, okay, like there are bad movies that are good, like Con Air. Con Air is a perfect example of a movie that's stupid but is good. It's fun to watch. This was not
Yes.
fun to watch even.
No.
Like I didn't enjoy watching this movie. In fact, I fell asleep about 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah,
because it
not
was
good.
like it was so boring. Like once they get past the initial like action of the first scene where they're like trying to kill the first guy, like it gets really slow and really boring, and there's barely any action, and we have to deal with friggin' like George Costanza, Biff Loman, the hitman, who's like just like a complete pushover and is so neurotic and just wants people to like him. Like it's so stupid.
I would rather expose myself to various Chris the Hedgehog drawings than
Oh
watch this
God.
ever again.
I'd rather expose myself to Lulu by Metallica and Lou Reed.
Let's not get extreme. But yeah, this is a heaping pile of dog shit. Anybody who enjoys this movie, you really need to get yourself checked. Just commit yourself to whatever local insane asylum is nearby to you.
Your
And
brain
just
was too
tell,
smooth.
yeah, you don't have to tell them, you don't have to say I'm insane. You just have to tell them I need to get checked in. Give me the most padded room you have. Why? My favorite movie is The Big Hit. Oh, right this way, sir.
Yeah.
There's no hope for you in this world. I hate to say it, but if this is your favorite movie, there is no hope for you in this world. By the way, this is my dad's favorite movie. But Jesus Christ. Speaking of things that are just a complete mess, I was chatting with my father the other day, and he had this wonderful dream. Actually, he was having a conversation with a couple of his friends, and they were all complaining. And one of them, they're all having sleeping issues. One of them said, I keep having these, I keep having these dreams. Like I have this terrible issue. I can't, I can't go to bed. Like I can't go to bed, and then when I do go to bed, every day at about 4 o'clock, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe I get 1 hour of sleep, 2 hours of sleep. I get up and I have to take the biggest piss in the world. And I get up and I go to the bathroom and nothing comes out. And I can't even, there's no tinkle, there's nothing. I'm sitting there for hours just trying to pee and I can't get anything done. And this is awful and I can't sleep. And then my dad's other friend who's, the name shall be, the names shall be, well, we won't use the names to protect the innocent. But his other friend gets up and says, "Oh, I have a much worse problem than you. I have to take a shit every single morning at around like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm retired, so where do I have to be? But I can't sleep. There's nothing that I can do. I can't sleep because I go to the bathroom and I can't shit. I can't take a dump. There's nothing that's going to happen. I've got these awful hemorrhoids, and there's nothing that I can do about it." So, and then my father, the wise man, just says, "Oh, I have it worse than both of you. Every morning I take a big piss and a big shit." And his friends looked at him and they say, "Well, what the hell is the problem there?" And my dad says, "Well, I take they're like, what time do you take a shit?" My dad says, "I take a shit at like 6 o'clock every morning." And they're like, "So what's so bad about that?" My dad doesn't get up until 11. Thank you. Just this awful this awful disease that my father has is just simply just it's atrocious. I wanted to do a podcast with him one time of just our conversations when he drives home. I wanted to call it Fighting with My Dad, but unfortunately my dad says so many things out of left field that I would get canceled just on the spot. So I'm like, "Dad," so like the whole show would be, "Dad, you can't say that." So that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like my whole, and it's not just him. My whole family has problems. They're they in fact tried to get him to they're it's just impossible. There's nothing that you can really do with them, and it's not like they're great at anything. So they decided, okay, well, we might as well get our wacky skills together and try to be entertainers. My dad thinks that he's hilarious. He's not, and well, long story short, they went down to a talent agent one day, and my whole family was checking. They went down to the talent agent, and they meet with the talent agent, and the talent agent, and they're like, he's like, "Well, okay, it's all of you," and they said, "Yes, it's all of us. My father, my nonna, my mother, my sister, my brother, and the family cat Lucky." And the talent agent says, "Okay, well, what can you do?" So my father immediately walks over to one side of the room and he spreads his legs out in the corner. My brother runs up and kicks him in the balls. My brother played Division III football. So my brother runs up to him and kicks him in the balls. My dad screams. Then my nonna runs and she kicks him in the balls. My sister then does a my sister was a dancer, so she does a pirouette and then she kicks him in the balls. My mother just walks up with the biggest smile on her face and she repeatedly kicks him in the balls for a good 30 minutes. And then the cat, of course, then they take the cat and they put the cat in a slingshot and they hurl the cat at the balls and the cat starts scratching my father's nutsack for a good 20 minutes. That's not the end of the joke. The next thing that happens, my nonna then proceeds to take a ladder. She climbs the ladder and there's a money in the bank briefcase up on the chandelier above the talent agent. The talent agent is quite nervous, and why wouldn't anybody be? So Nonna goes to climb the ladder, and she falls off. Then my brother tries to climb the ladder and he falls off. My father goes to climb the ladder, and then my brother and my nonna stop selling. And they end up, and all five of them end up getting my father onto like a quintuple suplex off of the ladder through the talent agent's table. Then, of course, they throw my father out the window, and somehow my father survives this 5-story fall, despite being impaled on his leg. So he gets up and he goes up the staircase, and then my mother is at this point in time is hitting herself in the face with a computer. I'm not really sure why. My brother at this point in time is just tickling the cat. There's nothing really else to do. The cat's being a good cat, so he's tickling the cat. My little sister is, of course, watching reruns of Seinfeld, and then while eating glass. She enjoys this sort of thing. It's sugar-coated. So, for whatever reason, she enjoys the glass. Then my father goes back upstairs with a giant boxing glove full of nails, and then he punches my brother in the face. He punches my sister in the face. He punches my nonna in the face, but nonna says, no, not the face, and then my dad says, okay, and she kicks him in the balls with a German steel-toe boot, once again. He then proceeds. My mother then, of course, is not going to be one to take this boxing glove with nails in it to the face. So she instead takes. She then takes a bed of nails and wallops my father over the head with it. Where she manages to summon this strength is beyond me, but she does it anyway. And my father, bleeding profusely with nails sticking out of him, he then lights a table on fire. Him and the family cat then proceed to put to 3D my nonna through a flaming table. Everyone all covered in blood, sweat, broken glass, nails, and all these other things. They get up and they take a bow, and the talent agent says, what the hell was that? What do you call yourselves? And they say, the aristocrats. Happy birthday, Dad. This has been Why Does This Exist? I've been Chris.
And I've been Rob.
And remember, question everything.
Good night, everybody.